Now, all right. So just to, just in case, who is the, for, those who, I mean, it's the first time joining our coffee break by Expose. So let me introduce myself. My name is Alan Park. I'm the head of marketing here at AIX.
And I'm Jamie, and I'm Client Success Manager of AIX. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you guys.
Here we are
And
again.
yeah, and I hope this session can help you guys in many ways to understand the Japanese market, especially the mobile game market, a whole lot more. So let's begin. So for those of you who are not completely fluent in English, you are welcome to use the Google Translation feature, just like following the instruction on the screen. And I'm sure, many of you already know, but, this is how you may, ask us questions, or, you can use the Google Meet activity button and then, put the Q&A over there, or you can simply just, leave any chats on the Google Meet. We will answer your questions by the end of the session. So, yeah, let's get started. Okay, the wrong button. Okay, so this is the agenda for today's coffee break. So we will be talking about the creatives for Japan, and we'll briefly talk about the influencers and the content marketing in Japan, and some major branding options in Japan, and lastly some plannings drills that you might want to do as a mobile game in Japan.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Moving on.
before we start, we have a little bit of quiz. Did
Yeah.
you know?
Did you know? So please be enthusiastic to share your thoughts in the chat or with the emojis.
Yes.
Anything is welcome.
You
So
can use
yeah. So please don't put us as the remote teachers who have to deal with the teenagers who have to talk to a wall maybe. But anyway, yeah. The first question. Based on survey, which color do you think is Japan's most favorite color?
Let's see.
Yeah, maybe
The
this.
emojis.
Yeah, it's red or blue or purple, or maybe pink.
Oh, there's
Because-
someone who said heart, red.
Yeah. What do you think?
Maybe because of the flag. Because
It's the red?
maybe.
Yeah, the country of the
somebody
sun.
also said purple
Purple.
and
Blue.
blue.
We are seeing a lot of
Blue.
blue emojis right there. Okay. The answer is it's blue.
It's blue.
Yeah, the survey kind of surprised me because
Wow.
I thought it's really the red because the flag.
Yeah.
And I know that they are Japanese traditional mythology believes that their ancestor is the the goddess of the sun. So I kind of thought it's either the pink or the red, but it was the blue.
Interesting.
Okay, second question. Again, this the creative related color question. So do they like pastel colors or vivid colors?
We can answer the pastel and vivid already.
Another pastel, another vivid. Okay, two more.
Pastel,
One more
vivid.
pastel.
I think they,
It's kind of 5 to 5, right?
Oh, pastel.
Yeah, it is pastel colors.
Yes.
By far, majority of people seem to like the pastel color. So very mild colors instead of the vivid ones. So the next slides kind of show is interesting example. The Japan, for some reason, they choose the color of that year. So for example, in 2024, they chose the color as hello blue. As you can tell from there's another color for 2024, which is the peach fuzz, but both color, as you can tell, is very pastel tone. It's not necessarily vivid, it's more mild of the same blue in the peach tone. So I think that's something you can refer to when you try to design something for Japan market. And number 3, So we talked about some colors, but let's talk about the people in Japan, right? Because we will also talk about the influencers.
Yes.
So what is the top personality trait of woman that is most favored by men?
Mhm.
So what type of woman do the Japanese men like?
It's really interesting. I think a lot of people who maybe watch animes would guess.
Okay, some attentive boats and good at pampering, bright and cheerful. Right, attentiveness. All right. Can you like develop this thought a little bit? Like what's so why do you think the attentiveness, is so much favored?
Oh, it's based on survey.
Yeah.
I think, maybe, like guys want attention. I mean, like loves having attention. So
Yeah.
I think that's like one
Being
of the top.
acknowledged.
Being acknowledged,
Mm.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There's another quiz which is about appearance this time. Mhm.
Vice versa.
Yes.
So who likes what? Is smile or the eyes or the color of the skin? White skin kind of sounds weird, it's
That's true.
yeah, but yeah,
Lighter
it's
skin.
we are not trying to refer to any like race, just please know that it's just that having a brighter color on the skin is kind of known to be important, especially in the Japan and Korean appearance themes. So it's actually the smile.
How about you?
I do like ladies who smile a lot.
Oh.
I guess it kind of goes back to the attentiveness. So
Mhm.
whenever
Mm.
the partner or whoever it is, maybe even a friend, if that you smile a lot, that's the sign of attention.
True.
That's the sign of I guess positive reactions, right? So I think that really can give a man a confidence that they need. So
Yes. And on the result, actually, we have like neat clothes as well, which is interesting. It's top three.
that's so white skin and knit clothes. Okay, that's too hard. I mean, high hurdles.
I think like women who dress like, like really nicely and like that. And also big eyes, I think referring to animes as well. And
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little too big, but anyway. Yeah.
but yeah, I think most Japanese people would have smaller eyes, so I think it like pops
Yeah.
up if you have bigger eyes.
That's true. So those of you who have big eyes, you are welcome to come to Japan anytime.
You'll be popular.
And if you smile a lot too, yeah.
True.
So this is our last question. So in Japan, it's known that, the confession, like, will you be my, girlfriend or boyfriend? That confession I mean, it should be depending on the couples, right? It should
Yes.
depend on different people.
Yes.
But surprisingly, no. Like there is a widely accepted, standardized rule
Mm-hmm.
around this.
True.
So how many times or how many number of dates the
Mm-hmm.
Japanese people think is necessary before or to get confessed or to do the confession
Yes.
for your partner?
And actually, if you attended our February webinar,
You
you'll be
know the
able to
answer.
answer this.
Well,
one.
that's like 3 months ago, so
Feel free to rewatch.
I don't think I
Later
remember,
on.
so I might have to rewatch to get the answer. But I will tell you that right away. It's actually number 3. So I mean, there is the nicely done, graph on the right. So there is like there seem to be all of this standardized process in Japan, like number of days. So the confession usually takes place either from third to fourth, and then after the confession, number of days that you would like to expect for your partner to engage in the case and the next step, right?
Mhm.
So it kind of blows my mind. I mean, it's good to have some kind of formula so that you would know that you don't act weird, but still, it's people.
Mm.
You don't always have to abide to the rules. That's how I feel. But I guess for the Japanese people, there's a standard kind of takes place. All the reason why do we have to, go through, quite a little bit of trivia so far is that since we are going to talk about the creatives and the influencers and the marketing pattern or the plans to succeed in Japan. So like we found out the pastel and the blue color were, the Japan's favorite. Does that mean that all of our creatives that we should put on the, App Store and Play Store creatives, maybe the icon and the screenshot, does that mean that should we have the blues there? And for the, influencer, only the attentive, smiling ladies and cheerful men, are they the only ones that will perform well in Japan? Should we always follow a certain, standardized pattern to have successful, marketing in Japan? So I just wanted to throw those questions out before we get into the deeper, discussion. So what do you think? Would using the blues will really help?
It would depend, actually.
Okay,
Let's see.
sure.
So yes, so we're going to talk about the crafting creatives for Japan. So I've gathered a lot of examples here. So these are just, it's not, I'm not saying here that you should do this because this is what we found, but this is like a common pattern that actually might help your game or your app if you try this patterns in Japan. So the first one that we discovered in the Apple App Store in Japan is that they usually have this spotlighting the characters with the text. So you can see here from left to right, there's like a character and then text, and then the background of the is the in-game.
Interesting. Even the duck and mushroom, duck and
Chicken, I guess.
pig.
A duck,
Pig.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a goose. It's a goose.
it's a goose.
Good
Okay, my
name.
bad. And so yeah, not just a human being character can be your spotlight characters. Anything that identifies your game and service may be welcome.
Yes. And yes, another thing is that they really prioritize the characters. So this is a comparison between the Korean and Japanese same app, but
Same game.
same game. But yeah, in the Japanese App Store, they really highlighted the characters on the first two screenshots. Whereas for the Korea, it's just, characters in one slide, one screenshot.
We do still see the characters in Korea, but they seem to focus more on the epicness of the battle, right? In here, we have multiple variations of the characters and various characters, so to say. I think that's an interesting, difference.
Yes. And we've also discussed this on our last webinar, but I think it's really important pattern to say is that Japanese screenshots usually feature the cuteness of the characters. So like compared to US and Korean screenshots, the Japanese screenshots, they use all the kawaii cute characters, and like even though they're going on an adventure, they're still cute and they're ready.
Yeah, they
to
have
be in
they have
the
a sword. This mushroom has a sword on his right hand, but it's so happy,
Yes,
as if he's holding his favorite toy.
compared to the US.
Yeah,
and-
this is intense, right? It's a soldier march right there.
yes, and I think the colors that they use as well is more into like intense
Yeah.
colors. And whereas to Japan, it's like more pastel and yeah.
Okay, I guess the pastel does matter. Maybe.
And another example with the cuteness versus fierce is from Genshin. So these are screenshots from the fourth until the last one. So the first three, they made it the same, but for Japan, they changed the other screenshots to like more, they chose the cuter characters, and also there's more female characters as well. And if you actually zoom in, these characters are more smiling than like having like, fighter fierce facial expression. So I think that also, reflects to the trivia earlier that,
Smile a lot.
people like,
Smile.
smiles.
Okay.
for the characters. So I think we can relate that
Sure.
as well.
Good.
And yes, so same insight here. So this is comparing Japan and Korea. Korea, the first screenshot, they have females and then males on the screenshots. But for Japan, they just plainly used all the female characters. So that's quite unique as well, I think, for Japan. And it's the same as the colors as well. They use pink and blues. But in Korea, they have more golden and, more serious tone, I guess.
Yeah, especially the text, right?
In the text background. So,
Yeah, it almost look. I mean, it's hard to read, but still this favored over more readable and then easy to comprehend font and text. Interesting.
Yes, and here in this example, they also focus on the characters as well, and also just focusing on female characters. Whereas in the US screenshots, they also featured male characters. So that's another interesting fact.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell this is the same game.
Right. They really did their localization.
Yeah, they did well, I guess, for this Arcanines. Interesting.
Another thing is that I think if you see a lot of screenshots already in Japan, there's always a lot of text. So here in the Royal Match example for US and Korea, they just have the in-app screenshots. Well, for Japan, they felt the need to have text and give more instructions on how to play the game and how to actually enjoy the game. So that's another thing that's interesting for screenshots in Japan.
Right.
I have another, yes.
I mean, go ahead.
I have another example on the next slide as well. This is for One Piece. And yeah, they also have text on the US and Korea, but for Japan, they really, on the first screenshot already, they're already explaining how to, gain more gems if you do the tutorial. So that's interesting.
Yeah, the informational text over the eye-catching, engaging catchphrases. Interesting.
And just comparing App Store versus Play Store. I think it's also common in other countries, but in Japan they also do this. That in App Store they mainly focus on vertical, and for the Play Store they use horizontal or landscape orientation.
Yeah.
There's more examples.
One Piece again.
And also same with Royal Match as well. They still have the text in Japan. But yeah, it's horizontal this time for Play Store.
Yeah.
And this is just another example that you can see that they actually change.
Yeah,
everything.
This is not just about having a vertical and the horizontal on the Play Store. The color tone and what it depicts is totally different for Roblox. I guess one thing we can say about this, the difference between the App Store and Play Store is that, as many of you already know, the demography of different OS users in Japan, iOS tends to have younger and female users, whereas Play Store has more guy and male users in a relatively higher age group. So I guess that can really go to making such a distinctively different screenshot and icon sets from App Store to Play Store.
And same with the next example as well. We can relate it to what Alan said. So the demography is quite different. So this game, the Sky Children of the Light, is so popular right now in Japan, and they also differentiate their screenshots on each store. So it's quite interesting. And I think, looking at observing Apple users, they are more, focused, or they prefer more the
aesthetics, visuals, and landscape, how it's viewed, and where am I exploring.
Right. So I think they just really focus on the visuals. But for the Play Store, I think they like more information, I guess.
Okay. So like old man like me needs more explanation.
Didn't say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So another, just one thing I want to add about, having more visuals for the female user target in Japan. I'm sure, many of you guys are, familiar with the PUBG, in survivor game, shooting game, and but it has a wide space, right? And then one of our, female, colleague, told me that, she enjoyed, jogging and shooting battleground game
Oh.
because the scenery was good. She enjoyed, jogging and then walking around and enjoying the nature.
Mhm.
So I guess, that kind of, popped up my head as I listened to your explanation
True.
about the
Yeah.
sky.
And I think the Android users too, like there's so many options for Android phones, right?
Mm.
And I think we can say that these people really likes to like see the specs of the
Okay.
phone and everything. Whereas
Mm,
for
mm, mm.
people who prefer iPhone, it's just
The design.
the design.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So I
Maybe-
think this is why the reason
Maybe
why.
so. Maybe so.
And yeah, so actually it might be, difficult for for us to find actual inspirations for screenshots,
Yeah. Because
especially in different countries,
right.
right? So we want to suggest this tool. It's called the ESO Index, and you can easily search apps here based on the keyword. You can search in US, in Korea, and Japan as well for free. So you just have to register your email, make an account, and this feature is free to explore in the App Explorer Creatives.
Yeah. So this is, showing what's actually used on at the moment, creatives, both on App Store and the Play Store. So you can easily, find out what's trending, especially around the genre and category that your games are in.
Yes, and for UA, is another common aesthetic as well that we see in the Japanese design. So this is not the only design that Japan does, but I think Japan is very unique for using this kind of.
Many of them use this type of banner design.
Yes, so I coined it as the pachinko aesthetic.
Yeah.
So what is pachinko aesthetic? So if you've been in Japan, so the video on the left here is how pachinko looks like. So it's usually like flashy, golden, and rainbow colored, and
It's a
have
casual casino
like
to sort of put. Yeah.
yeah. So this style is quite popular, or I'd say Japan is more used to this kind of design.
They are very used to it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it would be nice to explore as well on your
Yeah,
list.
when you walk around maybe like Shinjuku or Shibuya area and look something shiny and glowing, it's usually pachinko. So just letting you know.
Mhm. And we always have this question that when our clients are asking to localize in Japan, they always ask this like, should I change my creatives to anime?
Right.
So they always ask that. So we're going to answer it on this webinar today. So we can see in this demographic that there's actually various of age groups that enjoy manga and anime. So there's we can target a lot of people with this kind of visuals.
Yeah.
And the people who really enjoyed it before are the decision makers now in the company. So they usually use this kind of designs to connect
Okay.
with the younger generation, which is Gen Z, which is our key demographic for most games nowadays. So manga and anime characters are loved between this culture
Yeah.
and generation. So it's easier to target if you use that. But also,
Look at the age group, 3 to 74.
yeah, they already recognize animes
Yeah.
at that age. So yes, so manga or cartoon or illustrations based on surveys actually highly competing with different kind of creatives as well versus versus real life image or a video.
Oh.
So you can see here that the changes are not that different, but I think Japan is so unique that this is also competing with other kinds
Right.
of creatives, right? So
Yeah.
yes.
So I guess, still real life images is on the top, though
Mhm.
the discrepancy to the other elements is not that big. But
Mm,
so I guess, we can still say that, the Japanese people, at least majority, prefer that like more close to real life. But yeah, illustration and manga are still big, criterias.
yes, and based on age as well, there I mean for TikTok users, which is like younger people, they
Yeah.
prefer we found that 30% on that age group that they prefer this kind of style as well. So I think it's
Okay.
also still worth it to try.
Sure.
But also, next slide is the question is that should we use anime illustrations for our
Mhm.
marketing campaigns in Japan? And the answer is it really depends. So it is true that it's popular and widely it's normal in Japan to see this kind of ads, so they're really used to that. But you also have to consider if your brand actually align with this kind of creatives, or if your target audience is receptive to anime and manga, and if you actually have deeper understanding of the culture and the anime nuances of anime
Yeah.
in Japan. So I think those are the points that you have to think about, not just because I'm localizing in Japan, I should have anime creative. So it's not easy as that, I guess.
Indeed. And it's also hard to find a good illustrator who can make a good anime for your service and games. So, okay, thanks for sharing.
Mhm. And we have here some ad trends shared by Line Ads. So Line is a really big, really big SNS, or like it's like their messenger, just it's like their WhatsApp.
Yeah.
In Japan, so it's really big, and they're big in ads as well. And they shared this tips of the current trends. So we have here emphasizing the character spec details. So it's very
HP and
key.
MP
Mhm.
and good.
So they say it gets clicks easily if the person is interested with that kind of character.
And
So
they're so used to this though, with the
yes.
Pokemon style of
True,
games. Yeah.
true. So example, this character is fluffy. So if I'm interested in fluffy characters, then
Indeed.
yes. And the next one is this is I see this a lot that they emphasize the character. I think we saw in the examples earlier too. They focus on the character and they put the actual game screens at the back. So it's the characters catches attention easily, and they can imagine the game screen from the game screen what the visuals of the game, and what the game is all about. So they recommend that one as well. And from Yahoo Ads, we have this two choice question. So on the image here, it says, which side are you?
Okay.
Or like, which would you pick? So this became trending is because people who see it like tend to think about it, so they stay more on that image.
And
And
you would even click left or right, even though it's gonna direct you to the same page.
true. And I think because of the rise of AI, we have this rich CG animation. So yeah, it really catches attention as well for ads, and you can easily, show the worldview of your game if you use this kind of ads in Japan.
Interesting.
Yes.
Great. So those were some, creative. So we found out that blue and pastel may be significant, but maybe not in many cases, as long as your brand identity. But how about influencers? We did talk about smiling a lot. Characters were favored, and many of the creative examples. But how about smiling people? But before we going into like which influencer type and group is popular and then highly favored in Japan, let's talk about that. Is it really worth putting our budget into influencer marketing in Japan? And the answer is obviously yes. And the data in the survey shows that half of the teens say that they watch the game streaming every day.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And regardless of the age group, at least, 25% of the entire population said that they have experience of purchasing or downloading the game after watching a gameplay video. So they will see an influencer, playing the game, whether it's a paid or an organic video. They watch it, and then at least, one fourth of the entire population has downloaded it. So it's quite high when you think about the average conversion rates, right?
Yes.
So yeah, influencer is popular, but in what type of influencer group is popular? It's obvious. I mean, what kind of game video? Excuse me, is popular in Japan? It's YouTube and VTubers and celebrities videos. So 47% of the population or the respondents said that they favor influencers videos over the official game maker videos. So I think that tells a lot about influencer marketing. So, but the one thing that we should be cautious about, showing the gameplay and through influencer marketing is that the users conversion, users engagement doesn't come right away. So according to this survey, most of the people, 64% of people, think that the influencers, content to and PR post. So like, paid like Instagram posts or the TikTok videos and stuff are considered the same way. And then whoever watched the PR posts, the average people who actually purchase or download the service or game, it usually takes about a week, most likely. So that's the thing about the so-called branding marketing, right? Apart from the zero marketing, where you can track the links and what the users through came to the game through certain ad, banner or video, you can tell more directly. But for the influencer marketing, just give a little more time for the users to react. So, like, which platform then? In Japan, so I thought YouTube and Twitch were. I mean, those two are the main stream platforms, but we also have tweet casting, Nico Nico Doga, and Mirai TV, Mildome, and OpenRec, and 17 Live. So since in regard of the time, I don't think I have time to go over all of it, but at least I want to highlight the Mirai TV. It's a platform solely dedicated for the smartphone games. So anybody can be a streamer, anybody can be the introducer of the mobile game. So and yeah, so it's interesting to see a platform growing. At least there are 5 million distributors, so meaning there are just no more people. I can go home tonight and then make an account on Mirai TV and then start streaming and then become one of the distributors there. And another interesting thing about Mirai TV is that most of the distributor there use VTuber or the anime-like avatar, so to called, so to say. Yeah, there is reason why. 86% of people said that they don't want to show their face if they are to become an influencer. Or if they are already influencers, they still are saying that they don't want to reveal their face. Why? Various reasons, but it's more of the privacy issue. They don't want to get their private life to be harmed because of getting known, getting their face known as the VTuber or influencer even. Another thing, we can go back to the getting preferred with the animation to the style. So these designs get more. I mean, it's easier to get likes and subscriptions than your real face. I mean, everybody is beautiful in their own ways, but I think in Japan it's just so highly tuned into such design pattern. Yeah, and backing up, I think I mentioned it in other webinar too, but there's two major mega VTuber entertaining groups. So one's called Hololive and one's called Nijisanji, and the company who's hosting these two groups are listed in the Japanese stock market. So like simply speaking, they are the celebrities in Japan. who knows who's sitting in the behind of those pretty kawaii characters, but still is selling very much well, and thus having them introduce your games will really can likely to earn brand awareness as well. Another example, Iriam is kind of like Mirai TV, but it's a platform where it provides a free VTuber avatar. So you can choose whichever you prefer to become. Male, female doesn't matter. So you can pick one, and then you can start broadcasting, streaming. So the number of users of this app is increasing rapidly. And let's talk about who likes VTuber so much. Since it might be an interesting influencer marketing option in Japan. So if your game is really targeting younger generation, 10s to 20s, VTuber is can be your priority list. So this data says that VTuber fans are primarily males aged between 10 to 30 and females aged between 10 to 20, the younger generations. Yeah, so VTubers also is going really, in tight with gamings. So that's how the number of VTubers are growing in relation to the games. So yeah, I think the graph is getting even, rapidly higher too. So we did talk about, what group of influencers is famous in Japan is, I don't know, it's the virtual people. It's not really the male or female or the celebrities or the actress or actors. It's VTubers. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Whether though, when you actually do the influencer marketing in Japan, it's important to choose should it be VTuber or not. But still, another thing you need to count is the size of the followers and the influencers. So the size of the influencer has different roles in Japan. So lower the number of the follower, higher the engagement rate. So even though the number of entire fans and the subscribers are low, but it's more likely for them to actually react to the influencers, maybe download the game or purchase an item. But as the number of followers goes up, it will help you to gain more brand awareness and trustworthiness towards your games. So just take note of those roles of the different influencer sizes. And let's talk about content marketing. Yeah, influencer marketing can be some sort of content marketing, but what I want to talk about is what as game publishers or developers you can do in Japan to communicate with your users, Japanese users. So the top 10 2023 revenue ranked games have both official X accounts and YouTube channels. So all of them are really prioritizing the communication through YouTube and Twitter. Why? Almost everybody who plays game and who's paying enough attention to the game that they are playing have answered that the attachment to the game and the trust increased after watching the official YouTube and the X post, and then they tend to play the game longer if there are played games have their X account and active YouTube channels. So. And also, 87% of them actually said that the amount of money that they pay for the game increased by watching the official channels.
That's a huge number, actually.
That is a lot of numbers. So, yeah, please do consider running your YouTube and the Twitter accounts. And why do Japanese people watch game live streams though? It's just to get the latest update and information about the game. And since it's official, it should be the most reliable information, and that's why they pay attention to those informations there. So, like young generation in Japan will say that I have to look at the official SNS of the game to, really get the information quickly. People say that Twitter or X can be unreliable, but it's official.
If it's from the official, then
they are
trust.
likely to trust.
Mhm.
So what do the games in Japan or popular games in Japan do with their official account? They do this. They provide it's called four cut manga comics. So with the characters in the game, they come up with this short manga stories to really provide more behind stories,
Mm.
more attachment to the characters that the users play in the game, and it's cute. And another popular thing that people do, I mean, the games do in Japan is sharing the event calendar. So like, when's the next event, and what am I expecting from the events, and when's the new character coming out,
Mm.
and all of that stuff. And they also share the game guide, like what does the new item do, and this kind of turns gets my attention. These official tweeters and celebrate their characters.
Interesting.
So yeah, like those characters have their in their set book, I think have their birthdays, and they celebrate it when the day is there, and then sharing the free items and the survey. And these events usually happen for the seasonal issues, etc., etc. And for the TikTok official account, they would provide very engaging videos like this. So it's not really about the gameplays, but it's just to show the like fun and easily. I mean, the videos that can easily generate UGC.
Mhm.
That's what you may want to do on TikTok with your official account. And another thing about the content marketing in Japan is that there are this game community in Japan still alive and active, and drawing a lot of users in. And 5 million page views monthly for this game with, and the most popular and most viewed threads information. So it's like you go in there, and then you find the game that you play, and then there will be professional gamers and the writers writing down like which character you should choose. If you choose maybe a warrior, like what's your first step, and then go to this dungeon to get this kind of item, and all this type of advices are gathered in these communities. So even though you pay a little bit of money on there, just sharing those information is to really draw more trustworthiness for the users who might play your game, or who is playing the game to really stay longer in the game. These are important ways to do that. So those were some of the popular content marketing examples in Japan. So let's move on to branding.
Branding. So for branding, actually, for like, I think compared to other countries, they usually have the most prominent game web magazines, not even web magazines, but like sharing information, like Discord and Reddit and so on. But for Japan, this is still so alive that we still have the game web magazines.
Yeah.
And there's a lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot, and they're
yes.
actually huge.
Yeah.
The traffic is really good as well. So these are the list of the most popular ones. We don't have much time, so we will send this.
Yeah.
Send this presentation to you. So yes,
So the branding, marketing that you can do in the game web magazine is called.
ad hijacking.
Yeah. So you're gonna hijack the website.
So
So these banners are actually not for GEC or any other network in Japan. These are solely dedicated to the game web magazines. So you are directly purchasing this space from them, and it really helps with brand building.
Yes, and it's not just the ad jacking, but they pair it with
Banners.
banners and also the PR articles as well, the blog posts. So with the game with here, the exact game is also there. So it's really just ad jacking, like they're everywhere.
So you go into this website, and the very first thing, and then the most thing that's gonna come to your eyes is this game.
Yes. Yes, it almost like it's their own website.
Right.
Yes, so it's
that's why it's called hijacking.
yes, ad jacking in Japan. So, and we also have the OOH, or the out of home advertising.
Mhm.
So we have this iceberg over here. So the visible layer is, these are the people who are already capable of searching
Mhm.
for the game. So usually they can be, it's effective for them, for us to do the web advertising, because they can just, they can just click and easily download. But for the latent layer, which are the individuals who hasn't done actions yet, it's
Excuse me.
advisable to do the OOH. So that's like billboards or TV commercials, newspaper leaflets, and so on.
Mhm.
So this is still a big chunk.
Right.
And our strategy is to unearth this people to download
Mhm.
the game as well. So talking about OOH, where should we put it in Japan? So here are some places that
Shinjuku
very
area,
popular.
Shibuya area.
Shibuya also so popular. There's a
Yeah.
video here, and it's also almost just ad
Yeah.
jacking as well.
Yeah.
They buy all of these ads and play at the
You
same
can do
time.
the ads, so there are at least 1 million people go by
Mhm.
or walk around this area every single day. So yeah, so you're definitely gonna reach to that latent layer.
Yes, and these are examples of the games that actually did the OH in that
Mhm.
area, same as in Ikebukuro as
Yeah,
well.
especially if your game is highly related to the subculture,
Mm.
it's very favorite town of
Yes.
Tokyo, and so is Akihabara.
Akihabara, which is the homeland of anime
Yeah, and the kawaii
and the kawaii
girls.
culture.
Yeah,
Yes.
so more examples there. So yeah, let's please tell us
Yeah.
about a little bit about television.
So
Commercials.
I've heard for Gen Zs, there are a lot of people who are not buying TVs anymore. I'm not a Gen Z, but I also don't own a TV myself. But
Same.
actually in Japan, there's still a lot of people who use TV.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
these TV stations are also still persisting the people to watch the catch up broadcasts. So it's still strong, the real time broadcast,
Mhm.
but the trend is becoming more to the catch up shows. So they're encouraging people to watch online as well.
Yeah.
Yes, even though we watch it on real time on TV, the TV stations will still like prompt people to rewatch the show on
Right.
the television streaming services.
Yeah,
So
we don't have to record a show anymore. It's going to be on here.
yes, and yeah, based on the survey, the data, this TVer is like this is the one that is really top, and the growth is really rapid as well. So it's a catch up service as well, and their goal is to people to watch TV again, to return them to watching TV and eradicate legal video uploads.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's run by advertising revenue, so it's totally free. So a lot of people, I think that's one reason that a lot of people had been
Yep.
using this
But
one.
the ad efficiency of this platform is getting better
Mhm.
as more users are coming in. So
Yes.
this might be an interesting option to think about.
Yes.
Instead of traditional television commercial, we may put on the ad on TV
Mhm.
instead.
Yes. Okay.
So that's the very kind of surface level brief going over the popular trends of the brand marketing, influencer marketing, and then the content marketing in Japan. And let's briefly talk about like what we need to do, what should be our marketing plans. So based on like the category ranking, to be category ranking first to 50, you need to acquire at least 5,000 installs daily, and to be 41 to 100 is at least 2,000, and then below 100 is like up to 2,000 daily installs. So more importantly, let's talk about minimum daily revenue ranking. So I just stated triple A, double A, and an A. I know it might be a little different, but still, to become, revenue ranking first to 50, our data says that, it should be at least $200,000 daily revenue. So it's quite a high number. And for AA, at least 20,000 a day, and the A, so my ranking 100 and below, can be very various. But so like if you are aiming to be AAA games, what's your marketing plan should look like? It should be mastered. So you should pay attention to every single area of important marketing areas. So as a game, in Japan, the pre-register period is very much important. So you should pay full attention to that if you're aiming AAA games. So as we marketing after the pre-registration and the communication on YouTube ads and Discord and the game community, game web magazines, and the perfect localization, including ASO and the brand marketing, if budget allows, maybe the hijacking, OH, and then fever and traditional television commercials. All of that to be spent to really become 200,000 or $1 million a day revenue gain. And for the AA games, so these games are actually, so to speak, are kind of, stepping down from the AAA games because they've already, obvious that they've spent a lot of money and they are still spending a lot. But prioritize wise, the branding and the localization, the communication have decreased. But just to focus on the UA marketing, most likely to really keep the user flow going in for the AA. And what about the single A and most of the games then? Why you should focus more? It should be the communication because it can happen in the in-house, and then the users really can build up the relationship with the game providers, so they can help you to acquire core users and then very high loyal users. But still, you need to put some of the effort, put quite a lot of effort on localization, also ASO, because if it's not in right Japanese, the Japanese users may find it hard time to really enjoy the game. So and then UA to get acquire some users to at least try to aim to reach the 20,000 revenue daily. So pre-registration and the branding can be later after you've acquired enough budget. So that's what we have seen, and that's what we can suggest if is the level of the game that you think you yourself relate to.
Yes, that's very informative.
So yeah. So obviously, the conditions can change for different games, but still, okay, I wrong button again. So since it's about the time, let me briefly, introduce what will be our next month's. Yeah, content is going to be recapping of the first half of 2024.
Wow, it's
The
already
Japan
June.
marketing, yeah, it's June, and
That was fast.
yeah, I realized that it started raining a lot in Japan, and this is usually the time of the year. So yeah, so let's reflect, rethink, and revise what we have experienced in Japan over the past 6 months in June, and we have another announcement. We will be hosting an offline event in September. As many of you already know that there will be Tokyo Game Show in September 26th. So at AIX, our company, we have quite large enough hot coffee place to invite our guests to really talk about the marketing in Japan. So yeah. So more details will be announced soon. So, but feel free to contact us if you are gonna come to Japan for the Tokyo Game Show. So yeah, let's gather and then chat around the marketing industry and network, and then yeah, in the September webinar, so coffee break will be altered to the offline seminar, so to speak.
So that's the September coffee break.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I know it's already like 11:55 in most of your time zone. So we will use the remaining time to answer questions or any, discussion about your thoughts, opinions about what you heard, and things that you have maybe, had in mind when it comes down to the Japanese marketing.
Yes. Our office is just in Shibuya, by the way. So
Yeah,
we can come.
you will get to see all the pachinko aesthetic.
Oh yeah,
and
true.
large OHs.
There's someone typing now.
Yep, I believe so.
4 minutes. I'm really excited for this meetup.
Yeah, me too. Because we only get to, show our presence online.
True.
I mean, honestly, personally, I prefer,
Conversing in person.
in person,
Mhm.
and it feels more real. And
That's
I mean, online can do a lot of things for us, but still, meeting in face to face in real life, it means something.
true.
So don't be shy. Any questions are welcome, and we are open to discuss about any takeaways.
Strategies, about creatives, about contents.
Yeah, and we will, do provide the AS audit
Yes.
to every participants.
If you guys provided the link to your app.
Yeah.
So we will send it to you within 5 to 7 working days.
Yeah, the audit in
The audit.
Japanese App Store. So
Yes. Oh, we're getting likes and okay.
so we
Oh,
still have
interesting.
some rooms for questions and any discussions. So
Or is there anyone he already decided to go to TGS
yeah,
this year?
that'd be
I'd
too.
like to hear.
Yeah.
We
Sure.
always go every year, so
Yeah, if you are putting a booth or just going there to check out the vibe. Either way, we would like to see you there.
seems like there's not much. Okay. But yeah, you can still send us your questions if you.
Yeah, our inquiry box is open and 24/7. Yeah, so please leave us any notes or any requests for anything. So yeah, let's keep in touch and hope most of you can make. I mean, every one of you can make to Tokyo Game Show this year, and we get to meet in person. So let us call it for the day. Yeah.
Yes.
So thanks for joining, guys, and we will get back to you next month with the recapping of 2024 first half.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Bye bye.
day.
Have a good
evening,
day,
night.
evening, noon, whichever your time zone.
Hopefully see you in Japan in September.
Bye bye.